Fall is right around the corner, and if you're thinking about sending thankful, grateful, or happy Thanksgiving cards with leaves, pumpkins, and crisp apples, then this video is for you. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I am sharing the latest Pretty Pink Posh release, which includes a ton of fall designs and elements that really help you pull together some gorgeous and sweet cards. There are a ton of amazing goodies in this release, including stencils, stamps, dies, and embellishments, and I want to make sure to show everything that they sent to me, so I'm just going to dive right into the card making, and I'll share these new products along the way. So first up, we're going to take a look at the Layered Apple Stencils. This is a 3 stencil set. There is a layer for apples, a layer for a little leaf, and a layer for a little stem. So I am using some Distress Oxide ink, and I actually decided to use Festive Berries. I was going to use Candied Apple, but that always looks a little too orangey to me. So I think for apples, I really like these Festive Berries. I have the stencil held down onto my glass mat with pixie tape, except for here, I'm just doing the stems really fast, and I'm using a small detail shader brush so that I can just get ink exactly where I want it, and I don't have to cover the whole stencil with brown ink. And look at how cute those little stems line up on the apples. For the green, I am going to use Distress Oxide Mode Lawn, and again, I'm using a shader brush because the little leaves are just 1 per apple, and so you don't need to, again, cover the entire stencil with a bunch of ink and waste all that ink. But look at how cute this background is. This would be great for a teacher's thank you, as well as just a fall autumn card. So I did cut it down a little bit, and I've matted it on some craft cardstock. I'm going to use the fall envelopes, stamps, and dies. These are so cute. I love when they have these sets. They're little envelopes with images coming out of them, and then they have extra little accessories that you can stamp and color. I am using Copic markers in this set, and I'm not doing anything really crazy, except for when I do the envelope, I do like to do some blending and shading, and I leave the center the lightest part so that it's easy for me to choose a light source. If everything is just bright in the center, I don't have to remember where the light's coming from and where it's hitting. So I definitely do that all the time. This is the Grafetful Script Die. It's a really beautiful script, and I thought a grateful would be really nice on this card. So I did cut it out of white fun foam and some gold mirror cardstock, and I'm just going to use Ultra Bond liquid glue to adhere them together. Then I'm going to use Scotch foam tape to pop up the envelope, and I love how that green on the envelope kind of really coordinates well with the leaves on the apples. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue behind part of the Grateful die cut and put it right on that envelope. Add a few of those accessories, and this card is done. Next up, I'm going to use the Potted Sunflower stamps and dies. This is a smaller stamp set. I love these because they're a great price point, but also these images are super, super cute. You can use them on an A2 card, or you could even use them on a smaller, say, square card would be really cute. I decided to stamp out the large pot and then 2 of the smaller pots and then that little border at the top. So I'm going to, again, for these, use Copic markers. I'm going to do some basic blending and shading, nothing too crazy, except for when I get to the pots, I really wanted to make them look like the clay terracotta pots. So I'll share how I did that. But for the leaves and the flowers, I'm just coloring them in really, and then adding maybe another color just to add a little bit of dimension there. For the center of the flowers, I did color them with a YR color, and then I added a little bit of brown on the side, just little dots of it. So for these pots, I'm going to combine again a YR with some browns, and I'm going to do again the light in the center, just makes it easier to come in from both sides and give it that terracotta look. I'm going to use the dies with some pixie tape to cut them out, and I'm just going to place them on an A2 card so that I can figure out where to stamp the sentiment, and then mat that on some gold glitter cardstock, cut one of the pieces of foam tape in half so I can pop up that border at the top. This is just such a sweet little set, and I feel like you can make a lot of really cute tiny cards with it. I'm going to use the Sunset Orange Pearls from Pretty Pink Posh to add to my flower centers. I just thought that would, this is such a simple card other than the coloring, which did take me a little bit of time, but other than that, it's such a simple card that I thought that those embellishments in the center of the flowers just really add some shine and a ton of dimension. So I just put some dots of liquid glue and then popped those embellishments right on top. Next up is the Autumn Leaf Wreath stamps and dies. And I'm going to use my Stamper's Secret priming tool to prime these stamps. So you just rub the tool along new stamps and then you'll get a great impression from the get-go. So you can see I got that great impression from the jump, which is really nice. So you save some time there. And I stamped with some Gina K Designs amalgam ink. It is safe for all alcohol markers. This time I'm using my Artix markers, and you can see the reason that I really like the Artix brush tips as opposed to the Copics is they are a little thinner at the tip of the marker. So it's easier for these tiny little cute designs to get into the lines without kind of brushing too much outside the lines. Okay, I'm going to hold the dies in place with some pixie tape, run them through my die cut machine, and then I'm going to use some Ultra Bond liquid glue around a cut out piece of glitter cardstock so I can mat some craft cardstock on top of it. I love craft for fall. I think it looks great with gold glitter as well. And then that piece that was in the center, I cut out the script thanks die from that. And I love their script fonts. They are just, there's something just so versatile and perfect and just pretty about them. So they are really great. And this thanks die can go with a ton of different cards. I am using some platinum pearls here, and then I'm going to use some pistachio pearls as well, just because the wreath is basic and cute with just all those leaves. So I did want to add a little bit of embellishment to this. I am going to put a couple of leaves around the die cut at the top as well. You could put them on the wreath or next to your sentiment like I did here. Okay, next up is the fall basket dies. I think this might be my favorite. So I love this basket. I don't know what it is. I just think it's so cute. Again, cut it out of craft cardstock, but I am going to add a little bit of inking around the edge. I just grabbed a Distress Oxide in a brown just to add a little bit of kind of an aged effect to that wood around that basket. So the basket comes with a background, and then there's that top piece that we inked, and then there's kind of those pieces that go across that hold the whole thing together, and there's also a handle. So just a bunch of really cute pieces with those little details cut out of them. There's also some pumpkins here with the same type of details, and I am going to ink a little bit of crackling campfire around the edge of the pumpkin. So this is something that's really simple to do with die cuts. So I did start with colorful cardstock. I think that that makes it so much easier because you don't have to ink blend the entire pumpkin, but you can add a little bit of ink around the edges to add a little bit of dimension and interest to those die cuts so they don't look flat. For the mushroom, you get two layers. You get the cap and then the underneath piece. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of brown around the edges of the stem of the mushroom. There's also an acorn. There are some apples. There's leaves. There's a little eggplant. So there's just a lot of cute little elements that you can fill up this fall basket with. And I think it just really quickly and easily comes together. Once you die cut all these pieces, it's really easy to just fill up that basket like you can see here. So I did pop up the basket at the bottom of the basket, leaving plenty of room at the top to tuck things underneath. I like to do that so that I don't have to fight with the foam tape at the top. I have plenty of room to just tuck things underneath. Some things are adhered with liquid glue, some things are popped up, and it's just really easy to create a very cute display here without a lot of work. I did add the little leaf to the apple. So I cut this down and I stamped a little Happy Thanksgiving sentiment from one of the other stamp sets and matted it on some craft cardstock again. Just a really fun card to put together. Next up is the Layered Foliage Stencils. This is a 2 stencil set, and you get the leaves and then the veins. So I am using, again, those detailed blending brushes and some Distress Oxide ink. you can see that my Dusty Concord ink pad is very juicy, so it's almost like painting over the stencil here. And this one is the newest color, the Uncharted Mariner. And then I'm gonna add some salvaged patina. So I'm going for a totally different kind of jewel toned look for these leaves. So it's not your typical brown, yellows, and greens. I'm going for something a little bit different, which I think is really fun to do on a card like this, where you can definitely make more realistic colors, or you can kind of step outside the box and have some fun with some colors that maybe you don't normally play with, which, you know, for me, I don't use the purples as much, but I really like them with those teals as well. Okay, so the veins are really easy to line up, and then I'm just gonna try and get a slightly darker color on each leaf. So I'm just kind of mixing and matching, going in there with some Villainous Potion on some of the purples, just so that you can really see those veins and they really show up. I'm gonna use this tiny little many thanks sentiment from the envelopes, the fall envelope stamp set and dies, and then it comes with a little flag, so I could cut that out. I'm going to trim down the panel to 4 by 5 1/4 and mat it on some kind of purpley pink cardstock that I put the sentiment on as well, and then just pop up that sentiment. Of course, we want to add some gems, so this time I'm using the Pacific Blue and the Plum Pearls, and I absolutely love Pretty Pink Posh's embellishments. You need to check them all out, as well as Stamp Dies and Stencils in this release. I don't know about you, but I had such a good time stenciling my own backgrounds, coloring the images, and putting together these fall and grateful and thankful cards. But I'd love to hear what your favorite was. Let me know in the comments below. If you missed my Pretty Pink Posh Halloween release video, I'm gonna link to that over here. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. If you missed seeing my... Here, go here, go here, go here. That's too many things. I just said gorgeous. Let's come up with a new word.